Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and good Shabbos from a, rainy and chilly Huntington this evening. We had some snow this week. It was nice waking up. I think it was Monday? No, Tuesday. It was Tuesday. I woke up and the backyard is covered in white, cold stuff, and the dogs had a field day out there when they got outside. And then the rest of the week was kind of gray and cloudy, but today it decided to rain. But it is Shabbat, and we're not going to let the rain keep us from having a pleasant Shabbat together and with our families later on. All right, we're going to begin as usual. We have Sam standing by, and we are on page 2, and we're going to have the blessing over the candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher k'dershanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu b'halik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Sam. All right, let's begin with the responsive reading on page 6, middle of page 6. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, things to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
All right, we're going to continue welcoming Shabbat, the service known as Kabbalat Shabbat with Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, a song our mystics in Sfat would sing as they welcome the Shabbat as the sun set over the hills of the Galil. And if you've never been there, that's a sight that you really should see someday if you can make it to the land of Israel for a Shabbat and to watch the sun set over the hills of the Galil. Well, there's something really magical about that. And so Lecha Dodi on page 20 and 21, and we'll sing verses 1 and 2, 8 and 9. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem hu tiferet v'litchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela, Likrat Shabbat Lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor ha'bracha, Merosh mikedem nehesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela, Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai taritzi, Al yahadish ben partzi, V'nihi smecha v'nagila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela, Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha uv'sohala, toch emunei am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Let's turn the page and let's read together the top paragraph, a psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai! How very subtle your designs! A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. Let's sing the Hebrew, the indented. Tzadika tamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yiskeh shetulim b'beit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu. O Jenuvun b'seva Dishenim vera'ananim yiyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai Suri velo avlatabo. Let's turn the page and continue on page 24 with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem leshalom malachei hashalom malachei elyon. Mi melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni Leshalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon. Mi melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All right, let's jump ahead to page 145. We've done the Kabbalat Shabbat. We've welcomed Shabbat. We've eased into Shabbat from the rest of the work week. We've left the work week behind us, and now we are in Shabbat. And page 145, Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, bahagala, uv'izman kariv, v'yimeru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach, Leolam lo me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei lekudisha brichu leila min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata dahamihiran v'yalma v'yimheru. Amen. We are on page 146, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Let's continue reading responsively on the bottom, near the bottom of page 147. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows days in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Page 148, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochveinu uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu v'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha tasir mimenu li'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol miotecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlektecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uvkumecha ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu latotafot beineinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeruhu v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Let's read responsively on page 151. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the hearts, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learn God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate his power that makes for freedom.
Top of page 152, Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai. Mi Kamocha Nedar Ba'Kodesh. Nohora Tihilot Ohosef Eleh. Malchutecha Ra'u Vanecha Bokeyem Lifnei Moshe Ze Eli Anu V'Amru Adonai Yimloch Li'olam Va'ed V'nehemar Ki Fad Adonai et Yaakov Ugalo Mi'ad Chazak Mimenu Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. On page 153, let's continue with the top two lines of Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu L'Chaim. And let's read together in the English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 154 at the top, Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, ohoti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. We're going to continue with the Amidah, also known as the Tefillah, HaTefillah, the prayer. We're going to chant 155, 156, and 157 together. And then we're going to continue silently after that through pages 167. And you can chant along with us, read the Hebrew, read the English, or offer up your own prayer at this time. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot Le'imahot, U'mevii Goel Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magin, Baruch atah Adonai, Magin Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor V'Olam Adonai, V'chayei metim Atarab L'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'morid HaGashem, Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech noflim verofech cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha bal givorot, umidol mehelach, Melech memit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'hachayot metim Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim. Let's continue reading together on page 160 in the middle. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And let's have a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of hoda'ah, a little bit of hakarat hatov in the modern Hebrew, recognizing the good. And let's read responsively on the top of page 163. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise to the source of being.
All right, and let's close out the Amidah this evening with the prayer for peace. In the case of the evening service, it's the prayer Shalom Rav, top of page 164. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Hamcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol heit u'v'chol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. And let's read responsively in the English. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes.
Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart.
Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael v'shalom. All right, we're going to jump ahead to page 253, the Mishaberach, the prayer for those who are ill. And if you have anyone who needs a little bit of special healing this Shabbat and into this week, keep them in your thoughts and close to your heart as we sing Mishaberach in the middle of page 253. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mikor habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeherach imotenu mikor habracha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. And let's turn to pages 258 and 259, prayers for our community, and let's read them together, beginning with the prayer for our congregation, followed for our country, and then for Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel. Source of all blessing, may the children of this community learn these passions from us: love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and to untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichad Geulatenu. Hagen Aleha B'Yevrat Chastecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Oracha V'Amitecha L'Rosheha Tzoreha V'Yoetzeha, B'Tachneim B'Eitza Tova Milfanecha, V'Natata Sholom Ba'aretz, B'Simchat Olam Liyoshveha, V'Nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. This week, Parashat Vayishlach. I know I say this just about every week, but this is one of my absolute favorite Torah portions. I have about 54 favorite Torah portions, one each week. Right, each one is my favorite, but this one I really like because it's moving the Jacob story in a nice way. We've seen Jacob in the last couple of parshiot, and he's been less than stellar. Right? He steals his brother's birthright. He gets caught up in the shenanigans with Lavan. He treats his wife Leah horribly while doting on Rachel. He's had some hardship along the way. But this week, all of that really comes to a head. Jacob is returning home, is leaving Lavan, and he's heading back to mom and dad. And the way he's going back to Canaan, the way he's going back home, he has to pass near a place called Edom. And that's where Esau is living. And so he sends out messengers to see what his brother's been up to, right? Maybe his brother's lying in wait. Maybe his brother is still angry at him. And so the messengers come back that your brother knows you're close, and he's coming with 400 men. Right? And that's all the messengers tell him. Right? So obviously, Jacob becomes very, very frightened. But as we're going to learn in the Parsha, Esav is not angry anymore. He's not coming to wage war. He's simply showing off for his brother how well he has done since they last saw each other. So Yaakov, on the eve of this meeting of his brother and his 400 armed men, splits the camps. And he puts a bunch of animals and his least favorite sons, then his next least favorite sons, all the way back. And he puts these obstacles in front of Esav, who, if he's coming to wage war, he'll have to go through a lot of things before he gets close to Jacob and his loved ones. And then Yaakov ultimately takes his family across the river, distancing himself even further from Esav. And during that night, Yaakov is in his tent alone, and he wrestles with a mysterious figure. And we don't know who this figure is. And the commentaries are all over the place with this. We have that he's wrestling an angel, that he's wrestling God, that God somehow comes down, and it's WWF or WWE, right? The Worldwide Wrestling event or something like that. Some argue that Yaakov is really just wrestling with himself. He's seen where his life has led him, and he's not happy, and he has to break with his past so that he can move forward. And they struggle all night, Yaakov and this mysterious figure. And as dawn is breaking, the mysterious figure says, I got to go. But Yaakov won't let him go, and Yaakov says, tell me your name. And the figure won't. And what he does is he pulls a Yaakov. He tricks Yaakov, and he wrenches Yaakov's hip. And Yaakov has to let go. But before the figure leaves, he says to Yaakov, your name is no longer Yaakov. Your name is now Yisrael, which means the one who has struggled with God and man and has prevailed. And so we have this major, major name change, right? He goes from being Yaakov the heel to Yisrael, right? Yaakov doesn't have God's name in it, but Yisrael, the El at the end, means God. So the next morning, with much trepidation, he goes, instead of sending messengers, instead of putting people in front of him, he goes out to meet Esav. And they have this beautiful reunion. They hug, they weep, they catch each other up on what's going on, and they reconcile. And now when we have my study about the battling brothers, we're going to see how the rabbis turn this, right? Because Esav has to be evil and Yaakov has to be good. And so we're going to see how they twist this in the commentary, and it's worthy of its own reality TV show. Then after this beautiful reconciliation, we have a story that is just dropped in, right? There's nothing that leads into it, and there's nothing that leads out of it. It's one of those stories, and there are a number of them in the Torah, especially in the book of Genesis, where you'll have a narrative and it'll be interrupted by something else. And we have this famous story of Yaakov when he settles into a place called Shechem, that his daughter Dinah goes out into the town, and she winds up getting herself in some trouble. And the Torah has it that she is raped. And there's a lot to unpack there, and someday we will. But the idea is that the person who does this to Dinah actually falls in love with her and wants to marry her. And the brothers, Dinah's brothers, the 11 of them, are incensed. How dare they, And Yaakov is not seeming to do anything. So the brothers come up with a plan, and they say, of course, Shechem, the son of the chieftain, can marry our sister, but you all have to become circumcised. You have to become part of our tribe. And so the men all agree. And the next day, they're all circumcised. And while they're writhing in pain, the brothers come and they wipe out the town. They kill all the males. And Yaakov is incensed at this. He lets them have it. And he's critical of what the brothers have done. And he says, listen, what you have just done, it's not going to reflect on you. You're not the leader. I'm the leader of this family. They're going to come after me. And the brothers say, should we let our sister be treated like this? You're going to let your daughter be treated like this? And then and that's the story. That's that part. And then we get back to the narrative where we see Rachel, she dies giving birth. She names the child Ben Oni, the son of my sorrow, the son of my pain. And Yaakov then changes it to Binyamin, the son of my right hand. And so Benjamin becomes the second favored son in a way, because we're going to enter into the Joseph story starting next week. Isaac dies. He's buried at Machpelah. And like the burial of Abraham, where Yishmael and Yitzhak come together, at Isaac's funeral, both Esav and Yaakov come to the funeral and pay their respects. And then the parsha ends with the genealogy of Esav and the genealogy of Yaakov. And it's interesting to note that when the Torah gives these genealogies, they're saying that this is important. All right, we need to know Esav's genealogy because he's part of who we are. Just like we need to know Yaakov's, just like we need to know Yishmael's, just like we need to know Isaac's, Yitzchak's. Right? So this Torah portion filled with a lot of wonderful things, and tomorrow we'll talk about some of them. All right, last week I started a little bit of a mini kind of study of the 7 midot, the 7 characteristics of a welcoming community. This comes to us from Keshet. It's an organization that's trying very hard to make all synagogues inclusive of LGBTQ people, and not just LGBTQ people, but anybody who wants to become part of the community. They want to teach us how to make them feel welcome. So last week we talked about kavod, this idea of honor, respect, dignity. And this week is an interesting phrase. It's called Sholom Bayit. Or if you grew up in a Yiddish-speaking house, had a grandfather or grandmother who spoke Yiddish, when things got a little bit too loud, a little bit too raucous, they would say, Sholom Bayis, right? Peace in the house, keep the noise down, right? And that's what it means on the face of it, right? To not have a noisy household. But there's a deeper meaning to the idea of Sholom Bayit. It's that your home, your house, the place where you should feel most comfortable should be free from disruption, anger, and hostility. I know in a lot of Orthodox families, I have some friends who come from a bit more of a traditional background. And when they don't want to upset the Zaidi, when they don't want to upset the grandfather, or they don't want to upset the Tati, the father, they'll whisper when somebody's bringing up something that they maybe shouldn't be bringing up at the table. They'll start whispering, Shalom Bayit, meaning don't rile up the old man. Don't get him going, because once he gets going, there's not going to be peace in the house. You're going to upset him, and then he's going to get angry, and then it's all going to break loose. But shalom is an interesting word. Right? Shalom comes to us from a root. Right? Almost all Hebrew words come from what's called the trilateral root. 3 letters that in that combination, doesn't matter what the beginning is or the ending is, but in that combination deals with X, right? So Bet Resh Aleph, bara, always has something to do with God creating, right? And now I just blanked on all of my Hebrew. Lamed Chet Mem, lechem, always has something to do with bread or food, right? So it doesn't matter what the beginning is or the end, as long as those three letters follow one after the other, those words always deal with a certain subject. And the word shalom, shin lamed mem, gives us the word shalem, which means whole or complete, right? So when you say you wish someone shalom, you're wishing them a wholeness, a completeness, that they're not pulled in 150 directions, that their life isn't filled with chaos and turmoil. Right? And so when we ask God for shalom, we're asking God for peace, but it's this understanding that it's this complete, making us complete, whole. And shalom bayit, right? When we're talking about shalom bayit, outside the idea of keeping it quiet, right? What we're asking is that we have a place where all of us feel comfortable to be who we are, where we can be whole, that we don't have to hide certain aspects of us, that we don't have to pretend to be something that we're not. When we work for Shalom Bayit, we're working to create a community where everybody has a place. Everybody feels welcome. It's a place where disagreements, and Shalom Bayit doesn't mean, contrary to what my Orthodox friends believe, but Shalom Bayit doesn't necessarily mean that there are no disagreements. There are always going to be disagreements, right? The famous joke, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, right? You know, and if 2 Jews agree on something, well, Mashiach is coming, the Messiah is coming, because Jews don't agree. So there are going to be disagreements, but Shalom Bayit means, if you have a place that's filled with Shalom Bayit, the disagreements are handled in peaceful and respectful ways. You can disagree, but you don't have to become angry about it. You don't have to become enemies over it. Now, there are some disagreements that, maybe can't be reconciled, but a lot of them can, and you don't have to be angry in reconciling them. So that's part of Shalom Bayit. Shalom Bayit also means that you have a place where being different is not looked upon as being bad, but is celebrated, where you can be you, and you don't feel uncomfortable, and nobody makes you feel uncomfortable. That's Shalom Bayit. Shalom Bayit is also a place where everyone is welcomed. Stranger, longtime friend, everybody is welcome, and they can maintain their dignity. Right? That's the beauty of Shalom Bayit. Nothing is swept under the carpet. Nothing is put in a closet. No one is put in a closet, right? But it's an open and welcoming place. So when I think of Shalom Bayit, I don't think of it as being peaceful. I don't think the word shalom means peace for me. When I see the word Shalom Bayit, to me it's a complete home, a full home. A place where everyone feels that they are welcome and are part of a functioning, of a loving and caring community. A place where they can go when they want to feel good, when they want to feel welcomed, when the world has gotten to be a little too much. A place that's a Shalom Bayit is a place where you can go and be you. Kind of reminds me of... This is going to date me, right? I grew up watching a TV show called Cheers, right? Long time ago, Kelsey Grammer, Ted Danson, Shelley Long, Woody Harrelson, a whole bunch of well-known actors. But the bar was in the song. It's a place where everybody knows your name, right? And whenever one of the side characters, Norm, would walk in, he'd walk in and everybody would yell his name, right? Because everybody liked him and he was part of the group. And, and that's what it means to have Shalom Bayit. A place where everybody knows your name, a place where everybody accepts you, a place where you can be you. And so that's what a synagogue needs to have, needs to be a Shalom Bayit, because a synagogue for a lot of us, well, for me, it seems like it's my primary home, but for a lot of people, when COVID isn't in the picture, synagogue is their second home. They're here a lot. People come here because they want to feel welcome. They want to feel good. And that's something we need to strive for. And so my prayer for us is that we be able to create a place that is both peaceful and complete. Reminds me of a story that talks about why, if even one letter of a Torah scroll is missing, the whole thing is considered to be incomplete, or you can't use it, even if it's part of a letter. And they say it's just like that with the Jewish community. If one Jew is missing, the community is incomplete. And so by striving to make our synagogue, our religious home, a place of Sholom Bayit, that way we can ensure nobody is missing. And make it a Sholom Bayit is a place where we all want to be. And so with that, I wish you Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. All right. It is, I didn't forget. It is time for Kiddush, making Shabbat extra special. And so if you want to follow along with the Kiddush, you can follow along. It's on pages 4 and 5 in your Sidurim. Vayehi Erev, Vayehi Voker, Yom HaShishi, Vayechulu HaShamayim v'Haaretz, v'chol tzivam, Vayechol Elohim Bayom HaShvi'i, Melachto Asher Asa, Vayishbot Bayom HaShvi'i, Mikol Melachto Asher Asa. Vayavarech Elohim et Yom HaShvi'i, Vayikadesh oto, Kivo Shavat Mikol Melachto Asher Bara Elohim La'asod. Sabri, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, Borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaro lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, Zecher letziat Mitzrayim, Kivanu v'acharta, V'yotanu kidashta, Mikol ha'amim, V'shabbat kodshecha, B'ahava uvratzon, Hinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Somebody once was mentioned to me that they're concerned because it seems like I'm drinking a glass of wine very, very fast. And am I not drinking it too fast? It's grape juice. Not wine, but grape juice. All right, Aleinu, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teit gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzon, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah, Shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu kori, u'mishtachavim u'modim, l'shmei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shebnotei shamayim v'yoser haaretz, u'Moshe v'yikaro b'shamayim mihal, Ushlinatuzo, Begove Meromi, Eloheinu Eino, Emelkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu Vitorato, Yadata Hayom Nehashevota, Elevadecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, Vashamayim Hima, Vial Haaretz, Mihitacha Eino. Let's read together on page 285. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad. Ushemo echad. This week we observe the following yahrzeits: Robert Cohen, Eve Feinberg's brother; Benjamin Lazar, Maxine Frankel's father; Laura Turetsky, Tori Witcher's mother; Max Neckin, husband of Esther, father of Matt and Robert; Faye Elderman Borstein, Lil Kolker's sister, Joe's wife, mother of Alan; Sally L. Sparks, relative of Alan Siegel; Norman Friedman, married to Eleanor; Ray Cutler Jaffe, Jack Cutler's sister; James G. Secunda. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us all, and may they all rest in peace. This time, Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavorach le'olam l'amei maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran v'yoma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Well, friends, that's our service for this Friday evening. Join us again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for Shabbat morning services. And then again on Sunday at 9 a.m. And then it's a bit of a quiet week leading up to Hanukkah. And so Wednesday evening, don't forget to tune in, get your Yiddish on, get your singing on, visit with friends old and new with the best little Yiddish choir anywhere. And then we're going to be in Hanukkah for next week, the Festival of Lights. So hopefully we'll be able to see the stars next week for Shabbat. And so, Sam, did I forget anything?
No.
You got anything coming up? Everything's good?
Yeah.
All right. I want to thank Sam for being the tech guru and for James for our emotional support this evening. And so let's close out on page 321 with Adon Olam. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Kiklot HaKol Levado Imloch Nohora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yeh V'tifara Vehu Echad V'ein Sheni Laham Shilo Lahak Bihira Beli Reishi Beli Tachli Velo Haoz V'ham Yisra Vehu Eli V'chai Goali V'tzor Hevli V'yeit Sahara Vehu Nisi Umanosli Menat Kosi Biomekra Yahado Afkid Ruchi V'yeti Shan V'ayira V'yim Ruchi Giviati Adonai Li V'lo Ira. All right, let's see. Kind of like Romper Room. Jenny Bro, Shabbat Shalom from Cincinnati. Well, Shabbat Shalom to Cincinnati. And from Suzanne Hartz, Shabbat Shalom from Maury and Suzanne. Well, Shabbat Shalom to you. Melanie Samuels from Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. Good Shabbos from Brooklyn and back to you. Brenda Glick, Shabbat Shalom from Brenda and Billy. Shabbat Shalom to you too. And Judith Lentz, Shabbat Shalom everyone. And a Shabbat Shalom to you too. All right, everyone, have a great Shabbat, and we'll see you soon.